my business runs an additional 15 hours per week of labor without me having to hire a human or spend more on expensive ass tools, all by setting up my Claude Co-work setup in such a beautiful way that everything runs seamlessly. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you business owners exactly how you can leverage Claude Co-work for your business. I'll be going over three main things in this video, alright? First thing is all the features that you need to be aware about Claude Co-work that makes it completely different to Claude Chat that you're used to. Second is how I leverage Claude Co-work and how you can leverage the same thing to do these certain tasks that allows you to save 15 hours of labor without you having to hire more team members. And lastly, I will show you exactly what I personally think about Claude Co-work and if I really recommend using that in the long term. If you're new to the channel, my name is Fahad. I build AI systems for 7 to 11 figure business owners, been doing it for 6 years and already worked with a bunch of cool creators and firms such as Nas Daily, co-host with the Dave Ramsey Show, Anthony O'Neill, Love by Mike, $1 billion VC firms, blah blah blah. Anyways, let's get into the video. In this video, I'll be going over exactly 6 core features that you need to be aware of that makes Claude Co-work completely different to Claude Chat that you are familiar with. So file size, context window, capabilities, connectors, Claude extension, skill task, skill building. I'll be going over exactly how you can build your own skills. I know you heard a lot about skills, about this skills, that skills. I'll be going over exactly how you can build your own skills. But towards the end of the video, you will be mastering exactly how you can build your own skills. And the thing is this here, right? All these things are connected to two things: Claude.md file and Claude memory file. By the end of this video, I'll be explaining you exactly how Claude.md and Claude memory folder works. You can leverage this to build better Claude agents for yourself. Alright, let's get into it. So what is Claude Co-work? So Claude Co-work is essentially an agent that Claude built that lives on your computer. Claude Chats is a cloud-based LLM model chat where you can go back and forth. It sends the data to the cloud, it stores your data in the cloud. But Claude Co-work, on the other hand, is similar to Claude Chats, but there are several key differences. But the main thing is it lives in your computer. It does action in your computer, and all the memory is stored in your computer, and not in some sort of dinky ass data center in the US or some random place over there. So it's in your computer. Because it's a computer, it has much bigger context window, much bigger file size. It can do so many more things, and you can control your laptop and do certain things as well. So that's basically the main key difference. So in order for you to use Claude Co-work, you need two things. You need to install the Claude app onto your computer, and the second thing is you need to have at least a pro plan or a max plan. That's the limitation. That's the only way you can use these things. So with that being said, there is two ways in which you can chat with it. You can either have a back and forth quick conversation in here for your day-to-day stuff, or you can create projects. So what is projects? So basically projects it's a feature that allows you to group certain set of information together in different bubbles. I'll explain you what that means. If you have different clients, right? Client A, client B, client C, client D. And if you have one chat in Claude, you call this chat copywriting chat. And you talk to this chat and you're like, hey Claude, make this copy for client A better. Then you talk about client 2, then you talk about client C, D. And every time you talk about different things, right, it gets bloated. It doesn't remember all the things that you talked about different clients. Now, if you ask it, hey, remember last week we did this copy? That copy did really well. Can you tell me exactly what you did different to all the other copies? It doesn't remember because you talked about all the clients in here. It eventually forgets. But if you have a Claude project for each client, it remembers every single thing. And because this thing is stored in your computer, it has all the memory, every single chat, all the memory is there, and can tell you exactly what happened. So basically Claude projects just accumulates all the memory, all the references, everything you talked about in one particular folder. So I've essentially created a project called email project 2. I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to call it from scratch, or you can either choose a folder as well. I'm going to call it email project 3. And by the way, I'm going to be creating a live agent that basically goes over all my emails and tells me exactly what my writing pattern is and it responds to emails. So this project is for that. So I'm going to say, hey, you will analyze my writing pattern and help me draft emails. Now we can add several files in here. If I were you, what I would add is I would take copywriting frameworks. I would search copywriting frameworks. I would ask Claude, OpenAI research, to give me frameworks on the best copywriting tactics. And you can add files in here. You can add files in here that has all the copywriting frameworks, and it's going to refer this file every time it gives you an answer. I'm not going to do that for now. Now, the last thing that you need to do is, because this thing lives in your computer, you need to choose exactly which location you need to store all the things in. I have a folder called Claude projects. I'm going to create a new project called email project 3. Everything you've talked about in this chat, in this project, technically, is going to be stored in this information. The Claude.md, the Memory.md, everything is automatically generated in here. All right. So that's that. We created a project. Woohoo! Now let's talk about each of these features that you can leverage in these projects and everything else. So the first main difference that makes Claude Co-work much better than Claude Chats is the file size. So if you don't know already, Claude Chats only allows you to upload up to 20 files. So if you have a folder with multiple files, I can't upload a bunch of these files. If I select all of them in here and I click on open, it's going to give me an error that says, sorry, you can only upload up to 20 files, and each file has a limit of about 33 to 30-ish MB. That's not enough if I want a bunch of stuff to be done. But Claude Co-work, on the other hand, doesn't have that limitation. It allows you to add any number of files with any number of sizes because it's happening in your computer. So that's the main benefit of file sizes, and I've added a quick meme to signify what that means. I'm kidding, guys. I'm just messing with you with the memes. So the next thing is going to be quite significant shock to you. But the thing is, Claude Co-work has much better, higher context window than Claude Chats. Now, what the hell does that mean? Now, I'm sure you must have had this scenario where you're going back and forth with a particular in a chat in Claude or OpenAI or whatever. It gave you a particular answer, and after this answer, right, maybe a few days later, you had a bunch of chats with it. Several chats, and then you ask the same thing that you asked a while back. Hey, can you give me the answer we talked about on that day? It doesn't remember. It doesn't remember exactly. It doesn't give you the exact answer. Maybe it gives you a vague response or a vague format, but it doesn't give you the exact one because it forgets, because of all the context that got bloated. You added several information, the memory got bigger and bigger and bigger, eventually forgets and deletes unnecessary information. But Claude Chats, on the other hand, has 70% or so, don't quote me on this, but much higher context window than Claude Chat because it lives in your computer. Because of that, it remembers a bunch, maybe 70 to 80% more of what Claude Chat could remember, which is insanely helpful if you use a particular Claude Chat for recurring stuff like creating proposals or creating copies, where every time you reiterate it, you want the AI to remember what the reiteration was and why the reiteration was made. Right. So moving on, now one of my favorite features is connectors. So if you click on this plus button, right? If you click on this plus button, you see the connector option in here. What Claude Co-work allows you to do is it allows you to connect all your favorite tools out there that Claude supports, which is about 100, 300. I think Claude supports close to 400 tools right at this point. Majority of the tools that you use on a daily basis is supported by Claude. You can connect directly to those tools using Claude, and from that you can fetch any information, just like how you fetch information in your computer, to ask it questions like, hey, what happened in my email today? What's going on in Slack? What's going on in Notion? It's such an insanely good feature, and the way you can leverage that is by clicking on this plus button, clicking on connectors, clicking on add a connector, and it's going to show you all the connections that you have, all the connections in Microsoft, Canva, Notion, all those things. I have a Notion connection. Just click on connect button. It's going to open up Notion. It's a very quick thing that you need to do, and that's it. With that, now if I ask questions like, hey, what are the emails I got today? Because it's connected. If you see one of the connectors is Gmail, it's going to go to my Gmail. And it's going to fetch me information about the emails I got from the connection. Let's just wait and see how that works. So as you can see, it's able to pull all the key emails that I have. And the thing is, not only is it able to pull information from my connected tools, it's able to do stuff in the tool as well. If I tell this agent, hey, create a draft for me for all these emails, it's going to go to the tool, create the draft, and if I go to Gmail, I could see the draft that this AI was able to create. Now it's quite simple. This is a very basic beginner level stuff, but towards the end of the video, we're going to be doing so much cool shit that you'll be blown away by how much you can leverage Gmail. All right. So now the next feature that is, I would say it's overrated, but not a lot of people know about it, is Claude extensions for Chrome. What is Claude extensions for Chrome? So Claude essentially launched an extension that allows you to control your browser using Claude. This is going to open up your laptop and do certain things just by prompting it. Now, do I recommend you download this? Hell flipping no. Why? Look at the flipping rating. It's 2.6. Why is it 2.6? Because firstly, it's shit. It's so slow. It takes so much time to click around stuff and all those things. But most importantly, because it takes, the way Claude extension this thing works is it takes screenshot, it sends it back to LLM. LLM tells exactly what to click. It does that every time it moves around. It takes so much time. It just you deplete your limits very quickly. Unless you have a max plan, then it's fine. But if you want to do quick things like, hey, go to my Google Flights, check all the flights that are popular out there. It's going to open up your browser, check all the flights, play around and all those things. Go to YouTube, what video should I watch when I'm eating my dinner today? It's going to go to YouTube and find videos for you. It's going to do quick stuff like that, but anything more advanced, it's quite limited. So I asked Claude, like, hey, can you please, with the extension, like, hey, can you please help me book dinner for me? And it logged on and added 2 items in here. So it does the job, but it's so slow and it takes so much of the context. So it's so slow and it depletes your limits very quickly, that to a point where it doesn't make sense to do it manually by yourself. But that's one of the very cool features that Claude extension has. I highly recommend play around with it. But remember one thing. You see, I have different browser. I installed it in a browser. This is my official browser, right? This is just for my small work. Although I call it work, I usually just personal stuff, I keep it in here, but my business stuff is in here. You see how I installed the extension in the minor Chrome browser over the main browser I have? It's because it could be dangerous if the wrong person has access to your Claude and it's able to control your browser, where your account is saved, your bank account is saved, or your Stripes account is saved. It could do a bunch of bad shit, which is why I haven't personally installed it in my main browser. I installed it in my sub browser, where there's not a lot of banking, a lot of personal stuff in there, nothing that could jeopardize me. So that's one thing to be aware of. Now, schedule task is the most underrated feature that exists out there, and it's one of my favorites so far. So what is schedule tasks? So basically, if you don't know, Claude Chats, it's prompt based. You have to talk to the Claude and it gives you a response. Only if you ask it something, it gives you a response. But Claude schedule tasks, it's like a hotel. You ask food, it's going to give you food. But Claude schedules, it's like your mom. Mom doesn't wait until you ask for food. She's going to prepare nonetheless. You get lunch, you get dinner. I miss it. So it's technically, that's what schedule tasks is. Schedule tasks allows you to set schedules weekly, daily, monthly at a particular time where it runs. It does particular action, and you can set up this action to go to a connected tools from the connector or within your computer and do a certain thing. The only limitation is this: it's only going to work if your computer is open, which makes it a bit shit. Which is why I was not a big fan of Claude Co-work. But I'll get to why I think about that towards the end of the video. Alright, so that is that. And so I have a bunch of schedule tasks. My schedule tasks in Claude Code, it's the same thing. Don't worry about it. I'm just a developer. Claude Co-work, Claude Code is the same thing. This is for developers. That's meant for people who aren't as technical. So they have the schedule tasks, and I have an email analyzer that runs at 1 p.m. every day, and I give it instructions on what exactly it should do, and based on that, it fetches all the emails and sends me a Slack message every day summarizing the emails that I need to look into. So beautiful schedule task that makes my life so much easier. I'll show you exactly how you can set it up towards the end. So that's one of the schedule tasks, and there's so many examples of schedule tasks that we can do. I'll tell you exactly all the things that we can do towards the end. And the last thing is skill building. Now, this is the most important feature that you can learn in terms of agent building, all right? And this is probably gonna change the way in which you talk to Claude moving forward. Now, what the hell is skill? Skill is basically, it's just a set of instructions. People complicate this quite a bit. All a skill is a set of instructions. So a skill could be a set of instructions to do a particular thing. For example, if I every day at 9 a.m. go to my email, take all my emails, analyze what needs to be replied to, what doesn't need replying to, and I categorize them accordingly. I need to respond to this by today, and I don't need to respond to this by today. You see, that's a skill. That is a skill. If I can tell this exactly what to do to the agent, I've created a skill. So it can be as simple as, hey, write this email in this format. That's a very simple skill. And what the AI does, what the Claude does, is if it has a skill, right, you don't have to explain the entire step every single time. If a skill is created, every time you ask it, hey, check my email, you don't have to explain, hey, check my email, see what needs to be categorized, then put them in this folder, then put them in this folder. It understands because you created a skill. You once had this conversation, you created a skill of this, and every time you ask it to check, it's going to use this skill to understand exactly what you meant from before, and it's going to do the exact same step. It could be as simple as, hey, write the email in this particular format that you always use, or it could be as complex as, hey, multiple instructions in one can be a complex skill. Hey, do this, then do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. And the thing is this, right? It's very easy to create a skill. It's so easy. So let me show you exactly how you can build a skill, and also I want to show you exactly how you can leverage Claude connectors as well. So I'm going to do one quick thing. This is the second part of the video. You can consider the second part where I show you exactly one of the things that I utilize in Claude Co-work to make my life easier. So I connected it to Gmail, right? I'm going to tell it, hey, can you go over all my emails and tell me what format, and can you list them down for me? And what this is gonna do is gonna go through all my emails and it's gonna understand what is the tone that Fahad uses, what sort of voice does he use, what sort of language does he use. So it's fetching this thing. So Claude is insanely beautiful for doing analysis. So let's just wait for this thing to do a certain analysis. So let me just wait for this thing to do stuff. All right, so as you can see, it's able to analyze it analyzed all the emails I had, and it said that, hey, Fahad usually adds best, and sometimes it's just Fahad and sometimes nothing at all, and he uses things like ASAP. It gave every single thing, my language in here. Now I can simply say, all I need to do is, hey, create skill on what you learned, and I'm just gonna call it copy 2. Because I already have the copywriting skill 1, I want to delete this later on. So it's that simple. That's exactly how you create a skill. You tell it a set of instructions, right? And once you see the instructions, for example, you're like, you know what? For example, you could be like, hey, go to Notion, fetch me this information, then do this, then customize this PDF in this format. After you make it perfect, you can be like, hey, go through all the conversations and create a skill for me. That's what skill is. That's exactly what skill building is. It could be short, it could be simple, and you can even make the skill even better every single time. So that's essentially what skill building is, and as you can see, it's generating the skill that it needs to generate. So it's slowly working. So now, as you can see, the agent is basically creating the skill, and the beautiful thing is this, right? Claude Co-work, essentially just like how Claude works, is going to create the skill for you. It's going to run testing scenarios to see if this skill applies in different scenarios, and then it's going to show you exactly what it did, and sometimes it's going to ask you for feedbacks to make it even better, and then it's going to officially create the skill. And now every time you ask it, hey, help me draft an email copy for this particular person, it follows all the languages that you have, which makes your life so much easier. So alright, as you can see, after it created the skills, right, it's even asking me to give feedbacks on how it can better improve the skills. So I could be like, yes, this is great. So I'm just going to skip this, but as you can see, it's asking me information, and once I submit all these suggestions, it has 6 examples. Whatever I respond to these 6 examples, it's going to use that response, improve it even better, and boom, you got some beautiful skill right there for writing emails. So that skill is created wonderfully, beautifully, and every time I'm going to ask it, hey, I got this email, prepare a draft, can you do it? Have you done before? So every time I ask it questions like this, it's going to go through all my skills that I have regarding this, and then it's going to create an email using my language from the skills that I've taught it to. It was that simple. All I did is I showed it a format that worked. I said, hey, create a skill, and boom, it created a skill just like that. By the way, you can find all your skills. If you click on customize, you click on skills, and you can see all the skills that you've created in here. So yeah, personal skills, it has all the skills. I have communication skills, gift skills, a couple of skills I already created. You can find them in here. So that's exactly how you can build skills by yourself. Now I want to show you exactly the second type of workflow that I use. Now I want to get daily updates every single time on what emails I need to catch up on, what Slack messages I need to catch up on, what tasks are assigned to me. These are the 3 core things that I need to be aware of: what my email is, what my communication is on Slack, and what tasks are assigned to me for the day. So now, if you want to do that, right, I'm going to go to scheduled, and there's 2 ways in which you can create it. I like to do manually, but if I were you, I'm just starting out, I would say create it with Claude. Basically, you just go back and forth for the scheduled task, and it's going to create that manual setup for you on how to create scheduled tasks. So I'm going to say, hey, I want it's asking me questions on what I need before I even have to type it. So I'm going to say I want a digest summary, daily summary of, I want to choose all the tools. I want to choose this, and I'm going to be like, hey, I want the daily digest for all my emails, all my Slack messages, Gmail inboxes, and Notion updates. So it already knew before I even said anything. It knew all the stuff I need. I don't know if it's because it's hearing me, or maybe I've done this before in here. So I want to say, hey, I need the summary at exactly 9 a.m. So it's going to ask me a bunch of questions, and I can be a bit more specific as well. I always recommend being a bit more specific. Like for the emails, divide emails between what is important and what is not important. So while this is working, right, I want to show you exactly how the output looks like for this. And I could be like, hey, send this to me in Slack. You see this? I get a daily good morning message like this, where it shows me exactly all the emails, gives me a TLDR. So it has 3 messages, one for email, one for Slack, and one for calls. It goes through my emails and tells me a quick summary on what I need to go over today. I got 51 emails in the last 24 hours. These are the important ones. It gives it to me in one single bullet point, and then it tells me just few things I need to be aware of, and then it categorizes all things that are just noise that I don't need to do. And lastly, it gives me suggested next action items based on all the emails I got. Hey, respond to this person, give this person this thing, do this, etc. And then it gives me a quick Slack summary saying, hey, there is nothing important in Slack going on. The only thing is something needs approval, and this approval is the only thing that needs attention. And for the calls, I connected it to my calls as well, and because of that, it goes through all my calls and it gives me a quick summary on everything that happened on the call that I have. And it gives me this summary on Slack, and as you can see towards the end, I believe it says something along the lines of send using Claude. So it just does things so beautifully. Everything is quickly summarized. I get everything I need to get in one quick fashion daily digest. Makes my life so much easier. And one of the last things I would do is I would just connect all my transactions in here and tell me, firstly, organize all the files. I want to show you exactly how it works, right? So I just firstly schedule this. So that's exactly, so everything is scheduled, by the way. I can go more, I can give it more information. It's going to create the entire schedule automatically just by talking to it. So the last thing I use this for is organizing folders in my computer and mainly presenting that information in a way that it can make sense. And I use this for things like financial reports, going over all my transactions, organizing them correctly, and then presenting me data on exactly how I'm doing, what am I spending my most money on. It's going to be like Tinder. I'm kidding. I think all my money is mostly going on food, but so now the way you can do that is by clicking on create a new project. I'm going to choose an existing folder, and the folder that I'm going to choose is, I want to choose this section right here. So it has a bunch of tools in here. So yeah, I'm going to choose this. I'm going to be like, hey, organizing and data too. So I can be like, hey, organize the folder and tell me what sort of short. So it's gonna basically organize the folder first, and then it's gonna basically tell me what my numbers are like. Hey, you have XYZ folders, you have XYZ stuff. I chose a very simple example for you because I don't want to spend 30 minutes for this thing to run, organize, and all those things. So I've created a quick, in this quick folder right here. So in this quick folder of all these images, it's gonna automatically segregate things accordingly in different folders, and it's going to present it to me in such a way that, hey, you have XYZ PNG folders, you have 5 folders, you have 5 images, you have 5 documents. It gives me numbers. You can use this for invoices, receipts, and a bunch of other things in your business. And as you can see, it's already categorized things accordingly. It told me exactly all the files I have. I'm just gonna put them in this. You saw how big of a chaos it was in terms of folder files, and now every single logo is in different folders. E-commerce, CRM tools is in one folder, analytics tools in one folder, e-commerce tools. God, how great is this? So it analyzed this. It gave me a quick chart. Hey, this is the number of tools screenshots I have. Give me a quick chart on all the data that I'm dealing with. I gave a very simple example because I don't want to spend time till it gave the entire result. So, but you can see how you can leverage this for transactions, for expenses. You can do so many more things, so many more cool things, and let your brain for how you can better leverage this. But that's essentially it. And now, what the hell is Claude.md and Claude Memory? Now, remember how I told you need to create projects and everything you do is stored inside the project. Now, all Claude.md is the master instruction. It's the master instructions for everything that you did in this particular project. And what Claude Memory.md is, it's essentially all the memory. So it stores all the memory of all the back and forth conversation it has. Remember I said it has much higher context window. It's because of Memory.md. Memory.md is in your computer, and it can go on and keep getting bigger. Every time you talk to it, it remembers what it talked about. That's what Memory.md is, and Claude.md is just the master instructions. Any instructions you see, like, hey, every time you talk to me, call me Heisenberg. Or every time you do this, call me that. It's going to remember. It's the master instructions, and memory is all the conversations you have. So it has better context on how to respond to whatever questions you ask. Maybe you remember, did you remember something from last week? It's going to remember from Claude.md. So that's essentially it. And the way you can generate these things is by telling the Chat, like, hey, once you're done, create the Claude.md file and create the call Memory.md. It's already stored in here, but if you really want to see it in the folder, tell it, hey, create the Claude.md file, create the Claude Memory.md file, and every time you run this thing, right, hey, tell it, hey, go update your Memory.md, update your Claude.md for both of these things that you just did. And this is how you make sure that the brain keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it does perform every single time. And once it's done, right, it's gonna basically put them in here. It's gonna create a Claude.md file. So you just go to the root folder where you give access to. I created a project called Organize, right? And it's gonna create the Claude.md and the Claude Memory. As you can see, it is being created. So yeah, it created the Claude.md and the Claude Memory file. So that's exactly how all these features are connecting together. Now, if you watched till here, that means you're enjoying the video. And if you are enjoying the video, all I ask you to do is give me a thumbs up, go down, like this video, so you can tell the algorithm that this video is helpful and other people who wants this help can find this video. So all I ask you to do, I'm not going to ask you for money, just give me a quick like, and if you want more of such stuff, subscribe. That's the end of the video. I'll be wrapping this up. It's been absolute pleasure explaining you guys how Claude Co-work works. If you want to learn more about AI systems, automations, that's all I talk about, subscribe. And if you want someone from my team to help you set these things up, I know it seems a bit complex, you want to automate your business, that's what we do. I'm going to be attaching a link to book a free call. There's not going to be any pitching. We just discuss exactly how you can automate your business. Even if you don't move forward, you'll learn at least something towards the end of the video. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll attach the link in the video. That's about it. Absolute pleasure talking to you guys. I hope to see you guys soon. See you in the next video. Take care and cheers and bye-bye.